بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى أهله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم يرزقنا النية. Commencing with the name of Allah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, we praise Allah for the endowments that He gives without any obligations, the Lord of the creations, and we send salat on the Prophet Muhammad and ask Allah to raise his rank, protect his nation from that which He feared for them. We ask Allah to provide us with the correct intention thereafter. So last week we covered the preface of the book of Umdat ArRaghib. Some of the things that I regarded as maybe we should catch up on was, in particular, some information that was left out of Imam Ash-Shafi'i's biography that I thought was important. So amongst those things that I thought was important that should be very clear is that Imam Ash-Shafi'i, rahimahullah, also studied with Muhammad bin Hassan Ash-Shaybani, rahimahullah. Muhammad bin Hassan Ash-Shaybani was a Mujtahid Imam who was the student of Abu Hanifa. He's one of the founding Imams of the Hanafi school. And Imam Shafi'i learned directly from Imam Malik, the founder of the Maliki school. He learned directly from Muhammad ibn Hassan al-Shaybani, one of the top Imams in the Hanafi school. And he learned from various other Imams, including Alayth ibn Sa'd. And another thing that wasn't mentioned was that Imam Shafi'i had two madhahib. So when we say we follow the madhab of a Shafi'i, in general, we follow the new madhab with the exception in about 21 different issues. So basically all the scholars that have transmitted the Shafi'i madhab down to our time, they merged the two in this way, whereas basically people follow the new school, except in 21 issues, they follow the old school. And that's because they say that the evidence for the positions that he took in the old school were stronger. And this shows that you can follow the ijtihad of an imam, even if it changes, because that's what we do in this case. Nevertheless, his first madhab was what he was upon, that he established when he was in Iraq. Later on, he moved to Egypt, and after acquiring more knowledge from the students of Layth ibn Sa'd, I'm not sure if it's Layth ibn Abi Sa'd or Layth ibn Sa'd. I have to check. It's something like that. But or it might even be Abu Layth ibn Sa'd. My mind is not good. But after acquiring knowledge from these students, he changed his positions on certain issues and he established a new madhab. So essentially, we follow that new madhab out of Egypt, with the exception of 21 issues. Always.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there anything else I mentioned yesterday when we did this that I didn't mention today?
No, top of my head.
Okay. Probably was, but I can't think of it now. Okay. So, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Continuing with the book, now we're in the introduction. We finished the preface. We're going to try to do the introduction in this recording and then go on from there, inshallah ta'ala. So it says, the author, may Allah have mercy on him, said, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, who is alive, everlasting, who is Al-Mudabbir li Jama'il Makhluqeen. I don't know why they didn't translate that, but as the explanation, the meaning of Bismillah is that I begin with the name of Allah. The term Allah is the name for the being who is worshipped, who deserves the ultimate submission and to bring the non-existent into existence. And Ar-Rahman means the one whose abundant mercy is inclusive of the believers and the non-believers in this life and specific to the believers in the hereafter. And Ar-Rahim means the one whose abundant mercy is for the believers. So before we go any further, so right here it's saying the meaning of Bismillah is that I begin with the name of Allah. Well, they have the name of God. We know that God can be used as a translation for Allah. So in the translation of this book, they use the term God. And then they have the term Allah is the name for the being who is worshipped. But let's go more into so basically the term Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim is more like a phrase rather than a complete sentence. So if you were to translate it literally, it's like it's saying with the name Allah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. Okay. And then you're like, with the name of Allah, what? Okay. So there's a meaning that is implied when you say this statement that's not literally there. Okay. So when we eat our food, we say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Okay. So you're saying, I eat this food seeking the blessings of the name of Allah, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Okay. When you read, like you enter your house, it's good to say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. You say, I enter my house seeking the blessings of the name of Allah, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. This is a way of protecting your house. Okay. In the Quran, it came in 113 surahs at the beginning. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Okay. So there's one surah in the Quran that does not have the Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. You know which one that is, Mr. Uwais? Mr. Uwais?
Sorry, the mic. Well, let me turn it on real quick. What are you saying? Say it one more time. You said which surah doesn't have
Doesn't have Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim at the beginning. Yeah. It's one surah.
Don't know.
Okay. It's the 9th surah of the Quran. It has two names. You could call it Surah At-Tawbah or Surah Al-Bara'. Okay. So this surah is not permitted to recite this surah it's not permitted to recite this surah and start it by saying Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. If you do that, you're going against what was what we're ordered to do. Okay. But Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim still happens 114 times in the Quran, because in another surah, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim is mentioned in the beginning of the surah and in the text of the surah. Okay? Is when it speaks about Nabi Sulaiman alayhi salam. He wrote a letter, and in the letter he started it Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Okay? So we learned from that the prophets previously knew this invocation because Sulaiman said it. So mashallah, what was I saying? So what is being said when we say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, we are seeking the blessings of Allah, okay? Seeking the blessings of the name of Allah, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. And sometimes it can mean I start with the name of Allah. Okay, and that's the meaning that is being applied here in this translation. And sometimes it could be, I write this book. Like, so if you're writing a book and you start the book, you say, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. It depends on your intentions. Either you are starting the book, seeking the blessings associated with the name of Allah, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, or you are writing the book, seeking the blessings associated with the name of Allah, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, etc. Okay, so they have the meaning is that I begin with the name of Allah or the name of God. The term, and it says the term Allah is the name for the being who is worshipped, who deserves the ultimate submission and humbleness. Okay, so right there, the name of Allah being the name of the being who is worshipped. That's one meaning. And then it goes to explain what is worship. What is worship? Worship is the ultimate submission and humbleness. Okay? So as we get further along in the book, we're going to explain the importance of understanding that worship is the ultimate submission and humbleness. Okay? Because that's a very important thing, understanding that we must have. Okay? So some define the term Allah as being the one who, being the name for the being who is worshipped. This is very popular. Many ulama said this. Others, like Imam Abu Hassan al-Ashuri, he says that Illahiyya, so they have, this means the one who has Godhood, which is Illahiyya, Illahiyya or Uluhiyya, which is the power to bring the non-existence into existence. Okay, so they say Uluhiyya is the power to bring the non-existence into the existence, which is the power to create. Okay, so it's creating, the creator. Okay, so Imam Abu Hassan al-Ashari, rahimahullah, he said that this is stronger than using, or the ulama did. They said this is stronger than using the one who is worshipped rightfully, okay, or the one who deserves to be worshipped, because they say by necessity, the one who creates is the one who deserves to be worshipped rightfully. So this implies the other. We go on. Okay, it says Ar-Rahman means the one whose abundant mercy is inclusive of the believers and the non-believers in this life and specific to the believers in the hereafter. And Ar-Rahim means the one whose abundant mercy is for the believers. Okay, so when we're saying the abundant mercy, we don't mean an emotion. What we mean is that Allah wills to endow good things on the believers and the blasphemers in this life, and He has willed to endow abundant goodness on the believers exclusively in the hereafter. Okay? And likewise, Ar-Rahim means the one who has willed to endow abundant goodness exclusive to the believers in the hereafter. Okay? So, because Allah is not attributed with emotions. So anytime you run across an ayat or a hadith in which the terminology can be understood as emotion, it never means that. There's something else going on here. Okay? So Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. So when you say about a creation that they're merciful, this is associated with emotions. But in regards to Allah, when we say the mercy of Allah, Allah's mercy is associated with His will, the end goal of His will. The end goal of His will is to give abundant goodness to believers and blasphemers in this life without any discrimination, so to say. Okay? So this is why we see there are kuffar that live, mashallah, like, you wish you could live like that. And there are believers like this, right? Okay, they're getting abundant mercy on them, okay, in this life. And it goes without any discrimination. So Allah may bestow a bunch more mercy on so and so, and this person has no belief, right? But that's in this life. Allah, yani, he will wish he had the mercy in the hereafter if he doesn't become a believer. And likewise, you see the believers, mashallah, look what's happening in Palestine. The believers are suffering hard. But the mercy that they acquire in the hereafter, mashallah, these people will wish maybe us ourselves, you know what I'm saying? Alhamdulillah, we're believers, you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying even, okay, those people who died shaheed, so imagine someone who was more knowledgeable and more obedient to Allah, and they're living over there in Palestine and they died as shaheed. You will see them in paradise, and mashallah, you would wish that you died like that, because of the ranks that they're gonna have. Okay, when you compare it to whatever goodness you acquired in this world. Uh, so it goes on. The meaning of Alhamdulillah is that we praise Allah with our tongues for the blessings He bestowed upon us, which we do not encompass, and which is not obligatory upon Him to bestow upon us. And Rabbil Alameen means the owner of the universe, meaning the owner of everything that enters into existence. So, Alhamdulillah, okay, so this is the verbal praise that we give to Allah. Hamd is something that is a strong praise that's better than shukr. Okay? So it's permissible to say shukr Allah, but shukr Allah does not reach where hamd reaches. And when someone says alhamdulillah, they are saying a very strong praise, very strong appreciation. Matter of fact, the hamd is the praise that you give to the one who gives you something without being obligated to do so. Okay? So this is the hamd. Whereas shukr, even though we can use it for Allah, obviously Allah is not obligated to give us anything. But shukr is when you get your right, what was owed to you. Okay? So if I owed you $10 and I paid you the $10, then you would give me shukr. You say shukran, thank you, right? Okay. But if I didn't owe you nothing and I just benefited you without owing you anything, then you would give me the hamd, the praise. Okay? That's what it means. That's the difference between the two. So, it says, we praise Allah with our tongues for the blessings He's bestowed upon us, which we do not encompass. And we cannot encompass the blessings of Allah. There's an ayat in the Quran. It says, which of the blessings of your Lord will you deny? Right? This is in Surah Ar-Rahman. And it mashallah, like every ayat, like it's like almost every ayat, yani, like, so they mention something and then it mentions this, and it mentions this something, then it mentions this, and it keeps asking this. Mashallah, beautiful style, the way that the Quran mentions that. We cannot deny any of the blessings of Allah. We can't even account for the blessings of Allah. There are blessings that we don't even realize. Okay? And what it mentions, and which is not obligatory upon Him to bestow upon us. That's the very important thing to understand when we're saying hamd. So there was a group, they were called the Mu'tazila, right? They had the false belief that Allah was obligated to do what was best for the slave. These people who claimed to be Muslims, they had this false belief, and by that they claimed that Allah was obligated to do best for the slaves. And Allah does not have any obligations. And they refuted the ones of them that prayed, because it said many of them were sinful. They didn't establish their prayer. But obviously you had to have some of them that were established in prayer, right? This is, they're claiming to be Muslims, right? So some of them would have prayed sometimes, some of them may have prayed all of the prayers, okay? But it was well known that a lot of them didn't uh, pray all the prayers like they were supposed to. But let's just say, even for the one that's praying some of them or praying all of them, they pray every day, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, and they don't even understand what they're reciting because what they're reciting refutes them. And this is a case where the Quran is against the reciter. When someone has something in their heart that contradicts the Quran and they're reciting it and they don't even know that they're contradicting themselves. May Allah protect us. I think I'm making this longer than the first record. We're not going to get as far as we got yesterday. MashaAllah. So it goes on. So Rabbil Alameen means the owner of the universe. Rabb is the Lord. Okay, usually we translate Rabb as Lord. So you will see people that say, when they was translating Al-Fatiha, they say Lord of the universe, or Lord of whatever comes into existence, or Lord of the worlds. All of these are the way they translate it. So Rabb, okay, but okay, I'm gonna add to here. Some people they translate cherisher and sustainer of the universe. Okay, they also translate Rabb as this. And Rabb has this meaning associated with it, but then you have a person, they're going to try to take this out of context, and by using this terminology as if they're trying to deny that Allah is the one who punishes for the sins, that Allah punishes the blasphemers. Okay, we don't go that far. A person going this far, I had a person imply that with the speech with me. They say, if Allah is the cherisher and sustainer of the world, why would he have uh someone in the fire forever? Because he said so. Okay, that's the first answer. First of all, okay. Nevertheless, just because he is associated with this does not contradict that. You want to make it contradict because you're slow or something. You're restricting what is not restricted and expanding what's not expanded. Like they're going somewhere where they're not supposed to go in their understanding. Okay, and you're gonna have people that try to use it. So Rabb means he's the absolute owner. He's the true owner. Okay, like when we own things, our ownership in this world is figurative. Example, Allah Azza wa Jal allows us to own wealth, right? But Allah Azza wa Jal ordered us with rules of inheritance. So if when I die, okay, if I have wealth, it doesn't just go to whoever I choose to if I'm following the rules of the religion. If I follow the rules of the religion, it has specific people to go to, and there's a specific amount that I can give to whoever I want, right? Okay, that's not within my family, but there's a specific amount that has to go to my certain relative. Now, in this society, because we live in a non-Muslim society, the only way that's going to be handled properly is if I had a lawyer and had everything set up, if I have wealth when I die. Okay, but this is the case. If I went by other than those rules intentionally, okay, then I would be committing a sin. Okay. If I had absolute ownership of my wealth, then I could do with it whatever I want. But that's not the case. And even in this society, they don't have it that you could do with your wealth everything you want. Go buy a mansion and burn it down and see what happened to you. And they know you did it. And you didn't even do it for insurance fraud. You just did it because you thought, I'm so rich, I want to burn my mansion down. You don't have that right. So even in this society, in general, you don't have that right. Okay. So our ownership is figurative, and Allah's ownership is real, absolute. Allah has absolute ownership of the things that come into existence after not being existed. The alameen, okay, the alameen, they are the creations. They are the things that come into existence after non-existence. They are the things that indicate that they are in need of a creator. That's what the alameen is. Okay, so whatever is indicating that it is in need of a creator, i.e., that it's a creation, this is from the alameen. And some of the ulama, they differ about the term Rabbil Alameen. Some of them say this is associated with the accountable creations, okay, or the intellect, the creations that have an intellect. So you have the statement that I said, whereas anything that comes into existence after non-existence and is an indication of something that is in need of a creator. Okay, this is one way that they defined alami, and then you have others that said these are the intellectual beings, the people that the creations that have an aql. Okay, and some restricted those creations that have an aql. So some included malaika, al-ins, wal-jinn. Malaika is the angels. Uh, al-ins is the mankind. Well-jinn, jinn is the jinn, the creations. Like shaitan is a jinn. Okay, so some included all three, and some took the angels off of the three, and they just included mankind and jinns. And it depends on the way it came in the Quran. All of these is mentioned pertaining to alameen. Uh, okay, so they have Rabbil Alameen means the owner of the universe, meaning the owner of everything that enters into existence. And we gave you a lot more on that. I want to go back on Ar-Rahman for a second. Allah and Ar-Rahman. Amongst the two names that we mentioned so far, the terms Allah and the term Ar-Rahman, I want you to know that these are exclusive for Allah. And as we come across other names that are exclusive for Allah, we're going to specify it, inshallah ta'ala. So that means these names that you cannot call anyone Allah and you cannot call anyone Ar-Rahman. A person can be called Abdullah, slave of Allah, and Abdurrahman, slave of Ar-Rahman. Okay? Uh, but they cannot be called Ar-Rahman. And I've met someone who called himself Ar-Rahman. His father gave him this name, and his father wasn't a Muslim. I mean, obviously he wasn't a Muslim, but not necessarily. Okay, because you have some people from Pakistan that don't know the rule. And some of them used to give out this name Rahman. So you might meet a Pakistani person who claims to be Muslim that would have the name Rahman. I'm not saying they're not Muslim, but they are ignorant. Okay, they don't know the rule. Okay, so their name is Rahman. No, you call him Abdurrahman. But in this case, I met some white dude coming out of a bar when I was driving Uber, Yani, and he's talking about his name Rahman. I refuse to call him that name.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah, we don't call nobody Rahman. Khalas. So these are two names that are exclusive to Allah. And as, like I said, as we come across more names that are exclusive to Allah, we're going to specify them. MashaAllah. So it goes on. Al-Mudabbir lil Jama'il Makhluqeen means the one who predestined all what occurs in the universe. What's this mean? Al-Mudabbir is the manager of everything, of all of the creations. That's how I would have translated it. I don't know why they translated it as the one who predestined all what occurs in the universe, which he did. Okay, but Mudabbir is the manager. He's the one who manages things, and the management of Allah is all inclusive, whereas the management of the angels is underneath the management of Allah. Okay, so just as we say that We have a will, but our will is under the will of Allah. This is the case with the management of the angels, and it's proportionate to what they're capable of managing. Whereas Allah manages the angels that manage things. MashaAllah, we didn't get as far as we did yesterday. I said more than I said yesterday. Maybe that's why Allah made us mess up to the recording. So we did go a little bit longer yesterday, but I have less time to go longer. I have to get ready to go. So we're going to stop it right here. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Oh, let's say Yuhalli. That's what I was thinking. Yuhalli. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ahlihi wa sahbihi wa sallim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ahlihi wa sahbihi wa sallim. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى أهله وصحبه وسلم رب اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات رب اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات رب اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات